There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I can't tell you where. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their mind. That sound. Everybody look what's down. What a field day. 1,000 people singing songs and a carrying signs. Mostly say hooray for our side. It's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. What's going down? What's going down? Paranoia strikes into your life, it will creep. It starts when you're spotlight, the men come and take you away. It's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. What's going down? What's going down? What's going down?
What's up, everyone? What's up, peeps? Afternoon. Trying something a little bit different, a little different time. Excuse me. I didn't think anybody was going on this afternoon. I hope I was correct. So we'll kind of chew up the developments here the last couple of days, as wild as they were, trying to just kind of make sense of everything as best we can. I think we're going to find out a lot Thursday. This hearing was called, to the best of my knowledge, was called because of all the leaks, because of everything that has happened. I don't think there's a development case-wise or investigative-wise. This is about, in a certain respect, this is about all of us. This hearing's about everybody. Whether you have a channel, whether you're a subscriber, whatever, this is really about all of us. And this is what happened. I don't know if we'll get the full story about what happened. I know the Murder Sheet put out a pretty good episode explaining it. They're both smart people, so they're not necessarily naming names. But if you're able to follow what they sketched out a little bit, you could kind of figure out what happened without giving anyone's names or anything. Searches are able to be done about people that worked for the defense team at the time discovery was made. And I think that's how people ran down a name and came up with a name, which I'm not going to put out here. This would be the name of the person that worked for the defense. You could find it. You know, it's findable. And if that appears to be what happened, Don't know a motive for it. Don't know why he was doing it or what was going on. And he does not work for them anymore, for that said attorney anymore. That's the best of my extent to that person goes. But let's get in and let's say hi to everybody. Just Deb, what's up? Freckle Joy here. Been seeing you all over the Discords talking, sharing information. Hi. As I said before to you on YouTube, Hiawatha is always around too. What's up, Whack Shack? What's going on? Chilly afternoon here in Pennsylvania. I actually turned my furnace on today. Tried to make it without, but I couldn't. Marv, what's up? How are you? Marv has a channel, does really good work on her channel. She's been covering Delphi forever. Shane, what's going on? Tanisha, how are you? Everybody popping in. I want to get a lot out of my chat today. Actually, I would like. I'm glad a lot of people like the song and the video. I had a lot of good comments on it. When I make a video or a song, so I try to do a video kind of for every live or something I do, like bumper music, but I want it to foreshadow what my video is going to be about, or what I want my video to be about. One of the reasons I use covers is because I'm less likely to get a copyright infringement, but it's also a cool way to hear music in different, that's, the Buffalo Springfield really slowed down, really stretched out. But if you listen to the lyrics of it, and I put it in my caption for this live, everybody look what's going down. What's happening right now? We're not talking about the case. This is the X's and O's. We think Bridge Guy did this and that, and my theory is this and that. This is about what's happening, like I said, because of us, and not us directly. None of us are to blame or anything like that. I truly believe that no person on YouTube is to blame for the unfortunate loss of life that we had last week, and it was. I'm not going to say that guy's name here either, but it's easy enough to find, and it's very, very unfortunate if that's the reason for it. The person served us for four terms overseas, and you guys know how I feel about PTSD, awareness, and suicide, and we really don't know what happened, but it's in a timeline where he was contacted by law enforcement, and again, we don't know anyone's reasonings for putting these things out. And I know Mark Robert, Facebook name, has taken a beating. To the best of my knowledge, Mark has cooperated with everything. Mark got information. He wasn't the main part of the leak, but he might be in here talking today. I don't know. But obviously, he said he'd let me know that we'll find out Thursday kind of what happened. And that's the reason for this hearing Thursday. Early this morning, we saw that Judge Diener, per a release from the judiciary, was going to be officiating this hearing Thursday. That was a typo. It was a horrible typo, but it was a typo. I don't know how it worked, but Frank Meister is one of the people that grabs documents and has a good relationship with people in courts. He was able to call and confirm, or Russ McQuaid later. It was a typo. They've already fixed it. But what a huge typo, right? What? Have like 3 people proofread this anytime anything Delphi related comes out. So now I'm sure people will jump on that and say, hey, listen, look what they're doing here. It was a screw up, and it's their fault that they screwed it up. And I don't find people finding fault with, hey, let's run with a theory that we have and show more corruption's happening by them doing this filing, which was an honest human mistake. But it all could have been avoided. And I think that's a big thing in this case. It all could have been avoided. Early mistakes made by police could have been avoided. They could have been over it, right? You get a bad report card as a kid. You got to come home and bring it to your parents. Well, hey, we didn't get report cards today. We get them tomorrow. So you only put off the inevitable for 24 hours. If mistakes were made early in this case by law enforcement, if they would have admitted it 5 or 6 years ago, we'd be past that. But they haven't. And I think people have a lot of issues with that. I do. And I think they were made early on. I don't think there's a conspiracy that would include at least 10 people that are covering up the murder of 2 young children for some kind of profit. or even to cover up for someone else. That to me is more manageable to my brain than for profit. What are you getting money from? You're not getting money from the ball fields. You're not, you're not that doesn't compute. And that's a theory that I personally I won't entertain it anymore because I think it's kind of crazy. Send me something on it. Send me something that you think the family did it. Send me something. Show me something. I haven't seen anything. I heard a lot of people say families involved. They're not. They're not. Unless there's some bombshell evidence that has come out, there isn't. And looking funny and playing a certain song and trying to tie things together isn't. I purposely put images of the family in there to understand, to try to get us to understand, and even myself a little better. We're invested in this case, right? This case got all over us. Just the way things happen, the craziness of it all. Every day there's something fucking crazy new that comes off. And we're like, how is that possible? But we could turn off YouTube. We could watch a football game. We could take a nap. We could smoke a joint. We could have a couple beers, a bottle of wine, and kind of forget about it. The families of these girls can't do that. It's forever. So even though we have a lot of skin in this game, so to speak, and we do, I would argue with people that say, you don't have any skin in this game. Well, we do. We've taken time out of our lives. We've talked to our friends and our family about it, co-workers. They know that we're concerned about this, and we want an answer, and then we get a guy that's arrested. Now he is the guy or he is not the guy or whatever. We followed this case. I've only followed this case for 2.5 years. Some of you have followed it since it happened. So we're heavily invested in here, but at the end of the day, this isn't our case. Flora isn't my case, or many of my friends' cases, Meow's case or Kathy's case. It's Galen's case. This is the Williams and the Patty family's case. We cover it and we try to help as best we can. And I just, and anyone have a YouTube channel, they can put whatever they want on it. And if I don't like the content, I won't watch it. The same as mine. If people don't like my content, I don't take it personal. That's okay. I don't like him. He talks too much. He talks too fast. He is a Pittsburgh guy. He says yins and rubber band or gum bands and Warshrag and shit like that. That's all fine. That's totally fine. Totally fine. It's a difference of opinion. But when people go after the family, now they'll say, we know they're involved. Well, if they're involved and you had something, you would have shared that immediately for a couple different reasons. One, I hope you'd have done it. Hey, I have something with the family. I'm calling police and I'm tipping it in because that's what you should be doing. You should be tipping it in. I've talked to people on YouTube since I've started here that have tipped things in. I've tipped things in about Flora. I've gotten no response, and it could be a very, very side stupid thing, but I felt it necessary to do that. But other people, they would have tipped it in, or they would have came here and said, look what I have. Look at this piece of evidence that I have. Law enforcement won't listen to me. So here, I'm going to show it to you. And then boom, their channels would have blown up. Some of them, that's their intention. Some of them, it's just a side effect that happens. Hey, I got a lot of subscribers. That's awesome. Some people, this is what they're in it for. But at the end of the day, if they had that information, it would be out. So it's not out. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. What I'm telling you is these people on YouTube don't have it because they would have showed it to you already when it regards the family. When it regards the family. Other stuff, the Odinism, this and that, we can chop all that up. I don't believe the Odinism thing happened, although I don't think that theory is that crazy. Like some people immediately throw it out. Run it down a little bit because there's little kernels of truth to everything. And at the end of the day, let me say this about Delphi. There is an opportunity that everybody is right to a certain extent. And I really think that might be what we're going to see here. Well, maybe it wasn't Odinism, but maybe it's people to make it look like that. Well, maybe, for some reason, Richard Allen was involved, but he didn't do what we thought he did. Maybe these other people that we thought did it are actually involved after the fact. So everyone could be kind of all just be tied together. But I want to hear whatever you have to say. I'm going to go through and read some comments. But I wanted to explain to you the point of that video, the reason why I wanted to do that. So I'll have a thought process, and I'm going to do a video on this one I'm going to talk about. And then I'll go through kind of YouTube, like look up videos that make me feel a certain way about that topic, the way I'm feeling. And this was just, it kind of came out, and I was like, wow, that really hits the nail on the head. People saying hooray for their side. You got a theory and you begin to like run with a group of people that believe in that theory. And then you kind of form like a team together and you're like, okay, we're pushing that narrative. You heard there's a group called The Knot that thinks that Ron Logan did it. Or there's this group over here that thinks that Holder and his friends did it. There's a guy over here in this group that think Elvis did it. There's people that think Lesenby did it. And you kind of get with people of similar thinking. And you bounce those ideas and you reinforce those ideas so much off of each other that when you come out of that group, that kind of group think, you don't have room to interpret what anyone else is saying. You just, it has to be this, it has to be this. I like listening to different channels. I like listening to channels that I disagree with. That sometimes I'm like, man, these people were on some way off wild shit. But then they'll say one little thing on their video and I'll be like, and that gives me some substance to go after or to try to research. And I found a lot of information from people that I disagree with that I've formulated into my theory, you know, taking a piece of this and a piece of that. So it doesn't have to be you agree with me all the way. We might agree 50%, and then we veer off. Well, that's okay. That's okay. All right. But I wanted you to know why that video came. I don't know what's going to happen Thursday. I have some ideas or some thoughts, but I don't know anything concrete other than for sure that Judge Gall will be holding court. No pun intended. But let me get to some comments here, and I would absolutely love to hear what everybody thinks about whether it's about the case itself or about what's happened and what's been going on. And again, I ask you not to share names of the guy that lost his life this week, although it's readily available. I don't know for a fact that this is why he lost his life. I know for a fact that he served 4 tours overseas. And, you know, if a mistake was made by him, which disseminating information or whatever the case may be, you know, you put those 4 tours up against a mistake made here, and we don't know the reasoning behind things. We're just guessing at this point. But whatever helped to get to this point, you know, people need reprimanded and they need held accountable. But at the end, I see people blaming YouTubers. And let me go as far as to say this. I don't believe that at the end of the day that any YouTuber is going to was the thing that pushed this person over the edge. I truly, truly don't believe that. 50 some people got these leaks, and people have narrowed it down to 2 or 3 people on YouTube that did this and that. Remember, 56, I think it was 56 people got these emails unsolicited. They were sent to them. As far as I know, I haven't seen anyone say they've been asking for anything, but excuse me. Here we go. Night Shadow, what's up? We have all kind of people here. I'm going to start asking you guys questions, and I would love to hear what everyone has to say. Yeah, Wax Shack. I wanted to explain why I picked that particular reason. I'm glad everyone seems like everyone likes the video. Freckle Joy Raspberry, we're necessarily evil. There you are. Kind of our expert. She's been around a couple serial killers in her day, and that's a true thing. What's up, Steffa? How are you? How are you? 4-month-old puppy came out. Oh, well, that's good. My girlfriend has 3 rescued cats. She only wanted 1. Joe, you didn't miss anything if you fell asleep. Nothing wrong with I love a good afternoon nap when I could take it. Meow. Uh-oh. Right now, meow. Today. They're doing it right now. That's certainly breaking news. There's always see what I mean? There's always something happening out there. Like, yeah, for a small little town, we kind of knew it was coming. We talked about it. I was just mentioning Meow before, and we were talking about Flora. How we eat and breathe this case, or you live it, but so there's always time to talk about Flora, no matter what my topic is. Tanisha, a big advocate of the girls, and Galen. Yeah, when people have a lot to say about Carroll County, there's a lot of material for people. There's a lot of strings that you can grab and pull on. CJK, what's up? Yeah, so there's some talk, and I think I'm able to confirm this, that Judge Gall, if she wished to remove Baldwin and Rosie from the hearing or from the case because of leaks that could be deemed to them, if all those things are true and they did happen, that she could find a way to get it done, to remove them. I'm not saying that is going to happen or any of this is going to happen. I also heard that they might put one of the attorneys on the trial, on the stand, which would be interesting. So what do you guys, let me ask you first, what do you guys think about that? What do you think about, not the case necessarily right now, but what's happened with the leaks? How do you feel about people that have shared their interpretations of them? Other people haven't. And while we're talking about that, I find it extremely interesting. You know, I like to, and the way people act. I profile YouTube sometimes as a mass and as individual people. But what do you folks think about the people that saw crime scene photos? And I don't even know if they saw the same ones, or certain people saw the same and certain people saw separate, but they were all of the same subject matter, maybe from different angles. And then you've had people go as far as to draw their interpretations of it. And I've seen multiple YouTube creators draw their interpretations of what they saw. And they're very different. They're very different. That's a human condition thing. If you go into this looking at those pictures and you kind of already have not your mind made up, but you have a prejudice in your mind to think, yes, I'm going to lean this way and think this was Odinism, or no, I'm going to lean this way and think it's not. You have a predetermined mind when you look at that. So the people that thought that it maybe was an Odinist link before, they see that in the pictures. The people that say, no Odinism, they see that in the pictures. So even after seeing those pictures from the people that I saw, and I've seen multiple YouTube creators talk about the pictures. So it isn't just one, Rick Snae's taking a beating from people. I don't think I don't think it's necessary. Rick made a decision on his channel and he followed through with it. He talked to police. I've seen people that have actually are accusing him and other people of having something to do with this guy's suicide. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. And I think that's a very unfair accusation that people were leveling. That's just my 2 cents. But I think it's a very unfair accusation. But to look at it psychologically, these people are looking at this, and I don't think any of them are lying. I think they're telling you what they really saw. They're not liars, but they see different things. So the best person to see those pictures would be someone that doesn't know a whole lot about the case, that hasn't seen them before, that's kind of looks at the pictures and then they understand what Odinism looks like, or understand what Odinism looks like a little bit, then look at the pictures. But again, it goes to show you what I said in my video yesterday. When this is adjudicated and Richard Allen's guilty and he does life in prison or goes to death row, Richard Allen's found innocent, he's got off. I think a lot of people on this channel, on this platform, are still going to stick to their guns and say, well, I don't care what the jury said. They're dumb. He did it. And they let him walk. And I think people were going to say that. So I think this case is going to be talked about for years to come after this court hearing is over. I think Richard Allen could stand up and say, I did it myself and I'm sorry, or I did it with these folks. Those people could stand up and say, yeah, we did it. We're sorry. People still won't believe that they did it. I also think that the police could stand up and say, we lied. We made shit up and we lied. And there'll be people that like, oh, no, they didn't lie. They told the truth. But do you see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we all came here for the right reason. We all came here to try to help, to be into it, to maybe be as crazy as to help solve crime. Maybe we will. People in this chat will. I think I see my man Ruckus is here. He's going to solve a crime. He can't talk about it right now, but him and Steve are out there. Look at Meow here. Meow Zedong. She's going to solve a crime. I think we are. I think we are. Me, her, and a bunch of other us. I think we are. I really do. I don't think that's bullshit. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I mean, we're getting after it. People are getting after it. And at the end of the day, things get heated. You've put a lot of time into your theory. You put a lot of research into this. And someone's going to say, oh, your theory's BS. Well, maybe if they came to you instead of saying, oh, your theory's bullshit, and said, hey, let me ask you a question about your theory, and more directly this part of your theory. When you think they didn't cross the creek, let me ask you why you think that and what evidence you have. And then you begin to get into a discussion. And maybe that person says, hey, I do have evidence. Let me show it to you. And they send you, not a crazy crime scene picture, but something that they have that they think is proof. And you look at that and you're like, oh, shit, maybe I should adjust my theory and steal a little piece of your theory over here. Imitation's the best form of flattery, the most sincere form of flattery. So I can't even tell you when I came in here who I thought it was and how I thought it happened, but it wasn't. It wasn't close. Ruckus trouble. Yeah, Ruckus and Steve were out there grinding in the Midwest, getting it done. Too many, a woman creator. I think that Freckle Joy, I agree with you. And I know that Silky, I don't know if you guys follow Silky Southern Tea. I really enjoy all of her content, a lot of passion, but care too. She's not ignorant or rude to people. I agree. Freckle Joy, when are you coming up? And I was just saying this to Necessary Evil. Hiawatha, I don't know if you're a man or a woman. So if anyone would ever try to get information off me, I want to give it to them anyway. But I don't know who a lot of you guys and gals are. But I agree with you fully. There should be more women creators in Delphi. I see a lot in true crime. But then when you get to Delphi, it is. It's kind of like what we would call back in high school. It's a sausage party. Hey, let's go to a party. Hey, there's 50 guys and there's 5 girls. And the 5 girls ain't interested in any of the 50 guys. Yeah, Danger Dave. Danger Dave has a great channel. He does his stuff in the middle of the night, so I can never catch it. But Danger Dave called them too and reached out. So people are trying to do what they can do. They really are. I appreciate that. A lot of people on YouTube are. And it's not up to me. I want to be no one's moral compass. Believe me, I don't want that. So if I'm coming off like that, let me apologize. The family blamers, they need to stop putting their opinions out in public. Keep it to yourself. Yeah, I think when you're going after a specific suspect and they maybe once they're arrested, it doesn't mean they're guilty, but once they're arrested, they're going to be talked about. Police believe that they did it. Richard Allen's name's out. They're going to talk about Richard Allen. There's other people that maybe I feel were involved with the case, and whether they're or after the fact or whatever, and whether they're alive, deceased, whatever, none of that matters because I don't know for sure. If I knew for sure and I tipped it into law enforcement and law enforcement didn't do anything with it, I would come to YouTube and show all you and say, listen, I tipped this into the police. They're blowing me off. What do you guys think? Because then tomorrow, maybe 100 of you would call the police and say, hey, listen, what are you guys doing? Look at this evidence here. And maybe then they'd listen. I don't know. But yeah, if a YouTuber had proof of the family did it, they would have shared it. Could law enforcement have proof that they're involved and we don't know about it yet? That's possible. I don't think it's probable. I think it's highly unlikely, but I won't say never. But in my opinion, in my heart, the way that those people talk and the way that they react, I know a lot has been broken down of people, their body language and things like that. And I'm no expert on it whatsoever, but I do study it. I don't see anything in any of that leads me to believe anyone has anything to go with. I've heard people say they never have Derek German. I never have Derek. Well, he has a criminal record. Maybe you don't want people asking him that. Or maybe the guy feels responsible in some way because he was there to pick them up. And if he would have went 10 minutes early, maybe these things are playing through this head. And maybe if you put that guy in front of a camera, he's going to fall apart. And that's not good for anybody, and nobody needs to see that. I'm not saying that's what happened. I don't know anything about the guy. I know his daughter was murdered, and he went there to pick her up, her and her friend. And I know as a dad, he's going to have some level, some feeling of maybe I could have done. If I would have stopped to get an iced tea or something, and it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. But maybe he thinks that, and maybe they're protecting him from that. That's possible. I don't know. It's just a hypothesis. I think that's more likely then if you put him in front of the camera, he's going to somehow incriminate himself in the case, which some people believe. And you can believe whatever you want to believe, right? You could believe what old Westfall believes. You could believe that you're a racist and you're going to make that a religion. Well, hey, whatever you want to do. It's a free country. He fought for his right to worship whatever he worships. I don't even know how to say the word. It's a derivative of Odinism, and they just want like a bunch of not to knock them, but they apparently are a bunch of crabby white people who don't be left alone unless you're white people. Well, okay. Maybe we could give them Idaho or something. I don't know, but he has the right to do that, even though we don't like it. I don't like it. It's not my ideology, and other people have different ideologies than me, but I'll still hear what that man has to say. You take information from anybody. If Saddam Hussein returned from the grave and says, I have information on Flora, I would sit down and listen to him, even though he was an incredibly big piece of shit when he lived. But if he had information, I would hear it out. And maybe it's bullshit, maybe it isn't, but I like the Inquisitor too, although I disagreed with him on something recently with the Klein angle. He doesn't think that Keegan was involved. Maybe Meow can answer that. And again, I mentioned before, I think it might have been on EJ's show. I still think that there's some kind of Keegan Klein connection. I don't think he ever put his hands on anybody. I don't think he ever committed any physical acts or anything. He was a voyeur. He wanted to own the images and own the images here and then use them whenever he wanted to use them, as opposed to being with the real person. Being with the real girl, he'd have let her down. He would have been able to perform maybe, perhaps. I'm not sure. And even with a young guy, that can happen too, that has developmental or mental issues or trauma issues from growing up or whatever the case may be. But I somehow think that there's too many coincidences. He might have never met Richard Allen, but I think that that's tied to the network, the pedophile network, and that's tied to all these arrests. Remember, the Indiana State Police, Doug Carter said it launched the biggest CSAM investigation in the history of the state off of one of his devices. Well, it's probably off multiple devices, but yeah, it's very interesting dynamic between Gail and her family and the multiple police agencies. I know I was trying to work with Meow to get through that. I reached out. I haven't heard back from anybody. But I think Galen is motivated to talk to someone if they are willing to listen to her. And I think that's what needs to happen next in Flora. I think that we've carried the water. We've pushed the issue. We need to continue to talk about it, continue to keep it in the limelight, so we can't let it fade. But investigatively, unless someone reaches out to us or to police, I don't know how much further we could take it. Early on, the Flora and Delphi, there can't be no similarity, right? They can't be involved. I started with that premise, and you shouldn't start with a premise like that. But I've worked my way all the way back to the middle and say, you know what? I don't know. I don't know. If what's going on out here is, I believe that obviously there's Odinists. Obviously there's white supremacist ideologies and religions going on in Indiana. I don't believe that it was a sacrifice, Delphi, or anything like that, but these people are around. And that is something that can't be rebuked because it's true. So would you put it past them to do something like that? I'll tell you what, Flora is more like a crime by white supremacists than what Abby and Libby were. A lot more. And we have data to back that up. We have church bombings, right? We have a lot of that. The Klan uses fire. I'm not saying there's Klan involvement, but Klan white supremacists, they like to use fire. They view it almost as like a baptism, rising from the ashes is the phoenix. We burned this town down. You've heard of Black Wall Street. I'm not sure if I was in Kansas or Missouri. It's what they did to that town in Philadelphia. Actually, I think it was the police that dropped like a fucking bomb on a neighborhood. I'm not saying that there was Klansmen in the Philadelphia police at the time. There probably was a few, but I'm not saying that they did that. But these are weapons. Fire's been weaponized against black people for a long time. So I could see that ideology going on with Flora. And I've thought for probably about a year now that Flora was a cause or an extremist fire. I don't buy the insurance angle. I don't know of cases in my experience or very many where someone torched a place, a professional, we call them pros in a fire department, a pro did this job. He's not going to do it. She's not going to do it with anyone home because that's going to bring more investigation. They don't want that. So I don't see that. I think that the homeowners took advantage of the situation and got paid for it. And we know that they got paid for it. And as Meow said, the house is being torn down today. I want to know who's tearing the house down. I want to see if funds were directed through the town council to them to tear the house down, for them to say, oh, well, we don't want to see this anymore. It's a blight. And people were reminded of the tragedy that happened there. They're responsible to tear the house down. So if we have some of our researchers, I'm sure Meow will get into that. Did they divert money from their city or from their town to tear that house down? The homeowner should be at foot for that, or the insurance company, whichever you do. But I was hoping to get to see that. I guess I waited a little bit too long to take a trip. I hope to be taking one soon. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, actually. Flora with the house coming down. But anyways, let me start. I've been asking you questions and I haven't read what anyone responded. So that's kind of shitty of me as a host. So let me get to it. They would have taken it. I wish they knew. Yeah, something, anybody, someone prominent from the state, someone speak out. Shane, I think you're right with Judge Gall. I think she's pissed off. Ellie knows what happened in Delphi. Nick is not going to try this case in the media. I agree with you, Ruckus, and I think that one of the things, if and I agree with you. I think they have a strong case. And again, we don't know what Discovery hasn't been handed over. It doesn't have to be handed over until November 1st. So if anyone's going to tell you they know all the evidence in the case, even if the defense is leaking stuff to them, they might not have all of it yet. So we don't know what they have to turn over. It has to be turned over by November 1st, but all we know is that there is more. The judge wouldn't have made a ruling. He's like, oh, we gave him everything. Oh, we didn't give him everything. And maybe you're keeping your quote unquote smoking gun to the end. And that's just kind of lawyers jacking each other off. You know, that could be a standard issue for them. Crump would be a name. Somebody that has the reputation and it brings the media with them. Yeah. Miss Persevere. I'm not sure what you were asking why to. Sorry, I missed it. Yeah, the minor death rate in Carroll County is several 100% higher than the national average. Let me tell you that again. I think it was a 20-year period. The minor death rate in Carroll County is several 100% above the national average. I think it was either a 15 or 20-year period. You're on average, you had like a little over one minor fatality when they had, I believe it was around 15. 15. It was several 100%. Don't quote me on the exact 15 number, but it was in the teens. It was between 14 and 18. Yeah. Yeah, Ruckus, we knew they were tearing the house down. We knew it was coming. But it's just like, I don't know. It's almost like when you know somebody was sick and then you get word, oh, that person passed away. And it's still kind of surprising to you. And I know this is a house and this isn't real people in real life with illnesses, but that's kind of how I felt with Meow put that up there. I was kind of like, oh shit. And part of it's selfish because I plan a trip soon and I did want to walk around and see, although the house didn't have any evidentiary value anymore. The house didn't have any evidentiary value after the night that the fire happened because no one locked the house down. So, you know, not to get on my high horse because we're talking about Delphi, but that's what happened. Yeah, I don't want to knock Carroll County, but the numbers don't lie, Freckle Joy. They don't. They don't. Another good post. And again, I don't want to knock anybody for anything that they're doing, but people, you know, see what their actions are, and you judge them for yourself when you pick your content creators that you follow. Some people like people that like the drama. It's entertaining. I do. I don't like to have it on my channel, but I don't mind watching it on other people's channel as long as they're not, you know, disrespectful or having fun. But see what people are. I'm not gonna draw a line in the sand and say, oh, I'm better than these people. I'm higher morally, because I'm not. We're all the same. People ask me what I would do if I got the pictures. If I got the pictures and I would open them up and I would see what they were, I would, holy shit, I'm sure as everyone's, when they open up this email, holy shit, what is this? And kind of taken back from it a little bit. And then if you're able to remove yourself from the gore and just the humanity of it, and to look at those images and to say, X, Y, and Z. Well, I'm a firefighter. I've seen bad things, but I've never been quote unquote on the investigation of a crime scene. So I'd be interested to see what other people thought about it, your profilers and your things like that. And they would need more than just that. So the professionals would need more than just a couple pictures. But I think it's interesting, again, and I'll hit on it again, how some people saw sticks that were laid in a certain way, and some people didn't. Some people didn't. And I don't think either or any of those creators were lying when they said that, because I've seen 3 or 4 that talked about it. And they were all kind of different. If you have Barb McDonald's interpretation, they were all different. So it's interesting. No, you're right, CJK. And if it's true, then a guy lost his life over it. Deb, I believe that they got different pics, but they were all of the same thing. If that makes sense, maybe from different angles. But I don't know that for sure. I didn't receive them, so I can't, you know what I mean? Yeah. Hey, wife Lilith has entered the chat. Well, again, I would think me and you disagree on the Snay thing, but to each his own. To each his own. Hiawatha. Yeah. I like Rick. I like his channel. And listen, he's a little controversial. I get it. So if some people are like, I'm just here for like the facts and I don't want to, then maybe he's not your person. But he tells you that in front. He tells you out front, what it is. But again, Rick Snay was not the only creator that talked about the pictures that they received. I've seen at least, I think, 4 that I know of that received the pictures that talked about. Maybe they're not, I shouldn't say creators. When I say creators, maybe that's wrong. But people that have openly talked about receiving them. Some are creators. Maybe some are just people that comment and things like that. Yeah, well, as you can see, people even in my chat here, some agree and some don't agree, but that's okay. We're adults in here, and that's what we do. Yeah, they had passed in the latest. It was in the civil hearing where Galen was going back and forth with the heirs and the Birch Tree Holdings people, and they had said, "Yeah, we're going to have an order to tear the house down. There's no more reason for it to be up there." Galen agreed. The owners agreed. So at that point, back in whenever it was, that July or August that happened. So we've known for a while, but it was just, I was able to share today that it was actually going on today. So, the timing maybe is a little bit weird. I don't know. I don't know. Freckle Joy, I agree with you. I like observing everybody. I do. And so I look at what their information is on the case or whatever we're talking about, but I also like to observe them. I like to observe the chat. I like to observe humans. So maybe in a way I could take myself away from the drama and look at it and how are people acting. And I'm trying to say, okay, this person's acting this way because of X, Y, and Z. And you guys know I'm big time into the profiling, and I'm a extreme amateur at all that. David Gray Snay is good. I enjoy his show. I do. Yeah, what Hiawatha is saying, I agree. I'm torn, Hiawatha, because I'd love to see a jury go through that house someday just to see how the layout was, and that would have to be there. Someone was charged, and remember, murder stays murder. The civil case could be solved, not solved. I shouldn't say that. The civil case could be, hey, here's your money. We can't talk about it anymore, and go ahead and move on. But murder stays murder forever. There's no statute of limitation on it, so I'll continue to investigate it till either I die or until they arrest somebody. One of 2 things will happen. So for me, I have a definitive answer on Flora. I will look at it forever until somebody goes down for it. I think there's multiple people that need to go down for it. I do. I can see necessary evil. I'm tending to agree with you. I try to hold out my judgment till Thursday, but everything I've seen, it's not coming from the prosecution. I don't see any of this coming from the prosecution or even anyone allegedly alleging that. He's a Marmite. I don't know what that means. Ruckus is a good dude, though. But Ruckus is okay with that. Well, you could say, hey, man, I don't agree with you. Well, all right. No problem. Yeah. At best. Yeah. But I don't know. Some people have theorized that. Some people have theorized that Richard Allen is getting railroaded so bad that they tried to do anything they could. That's conceivable. I don't think that's what's happening. But if you're going down that path, okay. Mommy Wolverine is here. What's up? Big win as they beat the heck out of poor Indiana last week. Sorry, Frosty or anybody else that's fans of the IU Hoosiers. What's up, Anna? Yeah, way too indecisive. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. And again, Doug Carter said that in an interview that our best days weren't the days right after the Flora fire. Those weren't their best days. So they fucked up. If you did it in Delphi, I've heard all kind of, they had a fingerprint. They had this and they had that. If you messed that up, again, say that. You could have said that 5 years ago, Well, I'm not going to tell Mom I got my report card because I'm going to wait 24 hours. Well, maybe if you got a date that night, if there's a party, maybe it makes sense. But in this situation, it doesn't make sense. Because for me, I know it was wooden spoon time when I brought a D home. You got a D whoosh, with a wooden spoon. And I learned not to get any more Ds, even though I thought it was funny in school. I was, but I wasn't. It wasn't funny when I got home. But so you're only putting off the inevitable. So you give the opportunity for people to come up with theories and say the police are involved, this guy and this guy lied. And once you get a little bit of like, hey, maybe Tony Liggett lied. Well, I don't know Tony Liggett personally, but just the scuttlebutt and things like that you hear around town is pretty well liked, but he might not be Joe Friday. He might be slightly more like Denzel Washington in Training Day. What a correlation those two are. And I'm not saying that he's doing anything, but like so when you have a guy that maybe skirts this or that a little bit, and then he's accused of lying, but for people to come out and say they're 100% lying, we don't know. Why didn't LE come out and say, we're not lying, we don't lie, we're cops, we were by the book? I don't know. Maybe they can't do that. Maybe McClellan's saying, let's not try this in public, like Ruckus said. I get it, but it would have been nice for, someone to come out from the sheriff's department and say, our guys stand by what they said. And you're going to see, if you wait till this guy gets his day in court, something like that. PR isn't Carroll County Police or Sheriff's Department's best suit, I don't think. And maybe they can't come out and say that, but they're taking a beating right now, and there's no response to it. And someone like me, did he lie? I don't think he did. But you know what? If he did, take him off the case, put him in bracelets. He should be charged. He should be held to a higher standard than a civilian is, because he knows better. You know what I mean? Thank you, Marv. But again, if anyone else has definitive evidence that Liggett lied, we need to see it. Yeah, well, it depends actually what episode of Court TV you watch, because there was a couple whenever was it Barbara? I think it's Barbara McDonald, right? That was on there, and she showed that her sketch that was from a police officer. She said that didn't look like anything that we've seen yet. So we've had 3 different pictures. We have the picture F that was leaked, that now I believe is an actual crime scene photo, even though there's no ruler, there's no props in front, there's nothing to measure it. There's no scale in there, which is unusual. Maybe they took the scale out. I don't know. It was kind of taken at night, which was kind of weird, but it seems like that was actually a crime scene photo. So you have that picture. You have the picture that the defense drew in their presentation, in their Frank's motion, and then you have the Barbara McDonald picture, and none of them look alike. None of them look alike. It's like the people that saw the crime scene photos, and they, like, again, I keep harping back to that. They draw the sticks, and they don't look alike. They're looking at the same thing. Now, maybe the crime scene photo, maybe they saw multiple different ones from different angles and things like that. But at the end of the day, they're still seeing the same thing. And it just human nature, the human mind. I'm so fascinated by it. Why? People, are their minds made up already? Is that why? Or I don't know, but it's very fascinating. Now, Meow, how would you know that? I'm only kidding with Meow. She knows that. But I would agree with Meow. Yeah. Oh, I get what you did there, I think, Freckle Joy. Lakeside Justice, like the sausage party comment. I'm sorry, I'm really behind on the chat. Hiawatha, I think you're right. I think that the nature of the attack, the nature of the way that the girls were died, the pictures that you see of them, their age, they're just out on a day off of school. It's all, I think it reminds us of our kids. I don't have any daughters. I had 2 sons, but it kind of reminds you of your kids maybe, or your grandkids, or maybe you, even though they were 2 little girls. I could have been me and my buddy walking across the train bridge down here across the Youghiogheny River very easily. We weren't supposed to be there. Well, we listened, right? Yeah. And it was like a hangout. So I totally get that. And again, people, I think most people's hearts are in a good place. Necessarily evil, I keep putting the L in there. Necessary evil, I'm sorry. I even do that when I read your Discord messages to myself. I agree with you. I think that that's what happened. And I haven't talked to anybody, but that's very, very sad. Like I said, the guy did 4 tours for us. He did. So, but I'm going to that too right now. That's what I think happened. Core TV had a couple. Yeah, Core TV's done stuff. That's Vinny Politano. Is that how you say his name? Shane Considine. I have not heard this before. The case is infectious. I think that's a really, really good way to put it, Shane. I really do. I think that's an excellent way to put that. Hiawatha agrees. So what do you guys think? Let me ask you this, and I'm going to really get down here to the chat now. What do you guys think is going to happen Thursday? I believe that it's kind of going to be a Judge Gall come to Jesus meeting. I don't know if you've ever heard those terms, or we need to have a come to Jesus meeting. That basically means someone stands there and gives it to you, gives you the business. Is that what we think is going to happen? The defense is going to be slammed by the judge. Are we going to hear individual testimony? Are they going to put a lawyer on a stand from Allen's defense team? Does anyone know if Allen's going to be there for the hearing on the 19th? I don't think he is. But maybe we can help. So let me get down here into the chat and catch up with us a little bit more. People in Indiana will not like, yeah. Well, again, there's a lot of bad things that happen, and a lot of people like knock, they want to knock the police, or even the people that want to knock the police, I don't think they want to knock the residents out there. So even the people that think that the police lie and they're part of this, and when they talk shit, I don't think they mean it to encompass the residents. I watch a lot of creators with a lot of passion that sometimes they come off like that they're insulting the residents. But I don't think that they are. Even if I disagree with them, I don't think that they are. 4 deployments, yeah. He was still active up until I think August of this year with his wing. It's tough. A father, definitely possible. Yes, definitely possible. Meow, I don't know about that. I don't know about that at all. That's a good question. I don't know. 4 tours, he's probably going to get an honorable discharge or a general one, even if something bad happened after you do that much. From the limited I know about the military, but I don't know what it was. And I don't know, again, how he got his hands on things or what his motivation was for sharing them. Did these people share these photos because they think Richard Allen's getting railroaded? Did they share these photos because they think that the Odinism stuff's bullshit? We don't know. I don't know if we're going to find that out Thursday or not, but Yeah. However, these things were disseminated, I don't know. I know people were saying they got like emails that didn't have a return address or something. I don't know, but if you could even get that, I never have. But they're talking about the man that passed away. The man that passed away. Yeah. Yeah. Well, from what I understanding, he had already talked to law enforcement. He knew these folks were already all contacted. And as far as I could tell, the Mark Robert guy, he cooperated fully. Mark Robert himself didn't tell me that, but someone that I'm friends with and I trust told me that, and I believe that to be true. They're in talks with Mark Robert, and he did whatever he did, and he fully cooperated. That Chopper Harris, I don't know. I mean, you mean the actual crime, the motive for the crime? I've heard people say that too, but in my opinion, speaking like criminality wise, if you're willing to kill somebody, you're just going to kill that person. You're not going to kill someone in their family as a warning. A kidnapping, maybe, you do something to their home or their vehicle as a threat. But if you're willing to go to the fact that we're going to kill 2 kids, it would be criminally beneficial to you just to kill the one person that you had the problem with to begin with. If that makes sense to you. But I don't know. I can't tell you for sure that's what happened because I don't know. I'm only theorizing what I think happened. But you have that's a very plausible theory. I've heard a lot of people say that too, but I haven't seen anything that leads me to go down that path personally. Carroll County was trying to frame Richard Allen. Why didn't they plant some of his DNA at the crime scene? Well, that's a good question. Well, hold on. We don't know what's in that discovery that has a November 1st deadline. Could they have Richard Allen's DNA? That's possible that they could. For people to run around and say they have no DNA, they have no DNA, I would have to solidly disagree with those people. Because unless they're on the prosecution team or they're in the police department investigating this case hands-on, how do they know if they have DNA or not? The prosecution has not given the defense all its discovery yet. And if they have really good stuff from talking to people and listening to lawyer podcasts, which I've actually been doing that, because of this case, I've studied Odinism. I've went down the literally little rabbit holes with Alice in Wonderland, so much stuff. But all these people seem to say the same thing, and they keep coming back to the same thing on that issue, that we don't know what they have till after November 1st. And they reason that after November 1st, give them about a week to digest the information. We don't know how much more discovery is being handed out, but you give them about a week to digest it. And then if you see like there's talks for a plea deal, maybe they drop the bomb and say, hey, you know what, Rich, this shit ain't going to work. We got to plead you out. Or do they double down and say they haven't given us nothing else? All they have is this bullet and this and this and that or whatever. And that's all they have. So we don't know. So I think it's for people to tell you they don't have DNA evidence. I think that it isn't true. Even if they don't have DNA evidence, we don't know that they do or don't. That could be held with discovery. Why did they DNA test just about every guy in the town? And I know some people say they do that for reasons of just to see how you react if you'll agree to give it up. Well, I agree with you. But then they usually don't test the person after that if they don't have DNA. So they're not going to spend all this money and send all this stuff to all these labs. And all these guys in town got DNA tested. One of the things about what Westfall said that intrigued me was that he said, and again, can we believe him or not? That's up for interpretation. Okay, it's up for interpretation. He said that they went and interviewed like every kid that was in their class and their family. And that's pretty thorough if they did that. Now, again, that's Westfall saying that. So, but I'll put that comment back up there again. If we have enough time, actually, I'll probably just share it on my community page because we're already in an hour. I think that they have DNA. I think that they have some kind of DNA. I don't know if they have all the points that they need, but they have some kind of DNA or else they wouldn't be DNA testing people. Do they have hair? Keegan Kline admitted to hair. Many other people admitted to giving hair. They have something. Could it be convoluted? Could it be a piece of something? Could it be affected by some kind of bleach or something used to clean the scene? Could it only be a partial profile? Could they have the scene so contaminated with people? That's something else. Well, that hair could have came from anyone else. Well, here's what you do. Anyone that stepped foot in that scene during that time period, they get tested, and then they take the DNA from them, they take hair from them, and they rule them out. Unless they could say people walked through that area the night before, didn't find the girls, but were close enough to the scene to leave DNA or hair or something like that. And I don't think that's feasible. Were the girls there? Were they brought back? I still don't know about that. I think they were there, but I don't know. It's also crazy. It's also up for interpretation. So again, what do you guys think about Thursday? We know that they took the pictures from a computer. Yes. Well, we shouldn't say we know. I believe. Meow. I think that, well, I'll talk to you soon, but I think there's a way we can get around that. What people were saying before, like, man, we could get damn Galen on Oprah or something like that. I mean it. And then people let we know about Flora, but undrop that bomb on the country, and people be like, what? Them motherfuckers did what? They moved what? So, because that's everyone's visceral response to Flora. Honorably. Yeah, if we're talking, I'm late on the comment here. No show. He cussed out a pastor. Within seconds, the pastor turned racist. What? Was it on purpose? Was it like a wrestling skit, or did it really happen? I shouldn't laugh, but I would like to watch that. I shouldn't laugh. It's par for the course, right? It's par for the course. We shouldn't be surprised when things like that happen to people that cover Delphi. No offense to Noah or the pastor that turned racist on him. Oh my God. Yeah, I just wonder. I don't know. Could that be something they kept under their hat for this long? That's odd too, Meow, and I know that. And we've talked about him, and we've talked about his police interview, which we have. We'll talk more, Meow, on that. Oh, Ruckus is out. If you got to be 6'2", I'm 6'3", and I don't really have to shave my head. But they wouldn't like hanging out with me. No, they wouldn't want to hear my opinions. Yeah. My answer to that comment, Meow, is yes. And I think you understand what I'm saying. Well, David Gray, they could. They're able to do that. And if you know how they do it now keep in mind the people that you're talking about, and I'm not knocking anybody, but I'm not trying to guess anyone's IQ, but these people would have to be extremely criminally sophisticated. They caught the Golden State Killer, Gary D'Angelo. They took a Kleenex out of his mailbox. You could get DNA. How could you disseminate it? I don't know. I don't know if you have like an eyedropper. I don't know. But it's possible that they could have, but it would be hugely criminally sophisticated to do that. Does that make sense? Yeah, they would have his DNA now. Well, the warrant, I don't know if the warrant asked for DNA or not. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Ramona, tell me what that means. Sorry if I'm late on it. The guy with the tattoo that we're talking about, that me and Meow are talking about, he was a former boyfriend of Galen. And Kevlar148 hotmail.com, Chopper. If you want to do some deep diving, could send you some stuff for sure. Yeah. Is that enough to kill somebody for? I don't think so. But yeah, I just see, like I said, the professional angle. We call professional arsonists, people that kill for insurance. Or not kill for, listen to me, people that burn for insurance. Tim Corbett was willing to talk to Galen, help with the case. Some people said there was a gag order. Yeah, Tim Corbett in about 12 hours was able to call, and there's no gag order on Flora. There was a gag order, the civil case, but not on the original case. I think Tim could be very helpful. Now, Tim's an old school investigator, and he's very good. It was hard to facilitate a lot of information to Tim because of his investigative techniques that he uses, and they work. They're just a little old school. But yeah, I would agree. I would love to have Tim have a phone conversation with Galen if she wanted to do it. And, she's jaded in the past by the way she was treated from the community, from the police. They all thought she did it. So hard to put ourselves in that situation where you lost your kids and then you're accused of it. I mean, but I think that bridge has to be made. I've told Meow that. I've told Kathy that too, both friends of Galen. The bridge has to be made. Let's make that bridge. Let's make that happen. Let's get them to sit down and let's get this going. And I think that we're going to do that. I really, really do. I think we're going to do that. But we just have to, take what comes. Hey, this is who they're sending to speak to you. You speak to this person or whatever. I think that we're there. I think we're at that point, and anything I can do to facilitate that, please let me know from any corner of anyone's globe. Yeah, I don't know if she's still in here or not. But yeah, Tim Corbett's a bulldog. Tim Corbett's a little abrasive, but he's old school, natural, good police. And he needed stuff in kind of in a paper format as opposed to an email. But he can help. He certainly can help. Well, I know you're not playing me because Frosty's kicking my ass this week. I was up there going. I was good in the last 2 weeks. Kind of, who is Galen dating? She was dating a kid named Colton. If you do any searching around on any of the Flora 4 information pages on Reddit or Discord or anything like that, you'll be able to find a lot of information, including his police interview. Frosty agrees. Yeah, Frosty said you cheated fantasy football too. Good point. That was a good weekend if you're betting underdogs. Necessary evil. Oh, I think a lot of people believe there's corruption. I believe there's corruption. I don't think it's a hexagonal conspiracy where there's 20 people involved. No disrespect to the people out there, but I don't think they have the intellect to be able to carry off a giant conspiracy. I think a lot of what happened in Flora, I'll speak to that before Delphi. I think they fucked up early on with evidence. They didn't keep the house. They moved body. They did all kind of shit they shouldn't have done, and they never admitted it because they didn't want to look bad. So when they went to get evidence and to figure things out, they didn't have it because it was kind of they fucked it up early on. In Flora, I think that maybe there was some covering for some people too. I do. Delphi, I think they fucked up early on. I don't think they're covering for anybody in law enforcement that was involved in a crime. I think they want to cover reputations and make sure, hey, how do you explain why it took you 6 years to find a dude that lived down the street? You can't explain that unless you're honest and say, hey, early on we did this or we filed this or whatever the case may be. And if they had jumped out in front of that and maybe even a 2-year presser, hey, early on we were misled, we screwed up. We tried our best, but we messed up. 4 years later, people might trust the police more. They might not be having all these things that come out. And whether the police and the prosecution care about this or not, it would be better for them if it didn't go on. Hey, these guys were up front. These guys and girls were up front. They said they screwed the pooch early on, but, hey, at least they were honest. So the more that you hide, the more it gets worse, and the more these conspiracy things can grow. And I don't blame the people spreading them. You know, I don't agree with a lot of what they're saying, but you're not being told this is not that. No, someone isn't coming out and said this is not that. This is not what you think. So at the end of the day, yeah, I don't know. I think that he was just saying, like, in general, people maybe trust everything that it comes out from LE there or whatever. But Carroll County's, yeah, they're crooked. They're it. Yeah. Working through that, Rock. We're working through that. Hopefully, we can get it done. Pink camo in Carroll County. Is there a picture of that? Ruckus in pink. Yeah, the numbers are the numbers. The numbers are the numbers for sure. It is. It takes a lot out of you. It does. It kind of exhausts you. And, you know, even doing like I do an hour and a half live, I'm like tired after, you know, because I'm letting it fly. I'm talking. I'm being moving around and different shit like that. But yeah, watching some shows where people like go after each other, it just feels, you know, I think that there is. Hiawatha, I think he means meow in that situation. But again, we're working through it. We are working through it. Real estate agent, yes, David. She did appraise the house, the Flora firehouse. Yes, I think that that's pretty much been established. Was it appraised for more value than it was worth? I'm not a realtor, but my answer would be yes. And again, could that be something that ties this together? When people say that, I totally understand that, because that's a bizarre thing. Is this small county where there's only so many appraisers? Did she do more work for heirs? Yeah, I believe she did. But I haven't seen anyone that's able to link that together. But that's a link. There's no question that there's a link there, that she did do that. People always want me banned for state in Indianapolis LE. Well, I wouldn't ban you. David, there certainly is corrupt Indiana. I wouldn't say everybody. I'm not in Indiana. I think there's always more good than bad, I think. But yeah, I wouldn't ban you for saying that. You know. Yeah. Newer brick house insured, but they insured them out. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, the racism thing is big too. At first, when I heard people talk, yeah, man, it's 2020. You know, I got in here in 2021, but yeah, no, I did not receive the pics. I did not. From what I understand, the people that received it were, and I don't know for sure, obviously some Delphi creators, some of the I guess you would consider the top people as far as like maybe subscriptions go. There was a lot of creators that a lot of you followed that did receive the pictures that they haven't even talked about receiving them. They chose to say, we want to be involved. We don't want to talk about it. So you might never know who all received them. And again, we don't know the reasoning behind why the person sent out what he sent out to who he sent them out to. So I don't know, because to me, it's not like it was people that supported Rick Allen as being innocent. He sent it to people to think that maybe Rick Allen is innocent, and he sent it to people to think Rick Allen did it, as best as I can tell. So, yeah, I've found more and more out. Getting friends from Indiana, they bring up other cases. Oh, wow. I did think Rick said that, Snay. I watched his show, but I couldn't remember for sure. So I'm glad you're able to kind of confirm that with me. But yeah, so I believe too that they did. He said that too, that he talked to other creators that had gotten stuff, and they had gotten different ones. Maybe they did. Yeah. And again, I don't know to what end though. Why would they want that? But I think that you're right. I did think that they wanted to see them out there. but I don't know why. Rick Snay is my wife's boyfriend. Oh, well, to each his own, Whack Shack. Like I said, I enjoy Rick's channel. I watch all his episodes. We have different agreements and disagreements on different cases and things like that, but he tells you what it is going in, man. He's going to be a little funny and be a little sharp edged. Well, yeah, EMS especially. Well, bartender, wait, that's like two psychological fields. Yeah, you do a lot of human interaction there. We don't do as much in the fire department. If we're with people, it usually isn't that long unless they're stuck in something like a car or they stick their head in the railings of going up the steps or something like that. Then we have little conversations with them. Yeah, necessarily evil. That is to me too. That's the smoking gun, if you would, in who leaked what, because they've had this stuff for years. A lot of it. Well, they certainly have had the crime scene photos for years, and until this came out, until the defense did the discovery happen, all the holdback evidence is pretty much gone now. I don't know. I guess, again, the prosecution, I don't think, is leaking. Hey, honeybee. The prosecution is leaking, or I'm sorry, the defense is leaking everything, so we don't know what the prosecution has, in my opinion. Yeah, the Colts. It's an Irish saying that means you either love it or hate it. No in between. A new name for ruckus. Yeah, Anna Lissette. I don't know the end game for why these people are trying to leak. I try to figure it out, being like into people's minds and trying to, shit like that I like. I don't know. I don't have a good reason. I don't know enough about the people that leaked or whatever, or what their reasoning would be. We know that the guy that we're pretty sure did it was a former employee of one of the attorneys to represent Richard Allen. Did he have a beef, or did he have an axe to grind with them? I was thinking in that line, because I can't think of another reason to do this. I don't think that the person's just a sick individual and wanting to get these images out in front of people. But for sure. I mean, obviously, they've had a much better basketball program and football program I'm 44, for as long as I've been alive. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I don't know if you guys have a reason or why you think maybe they came out. I don't know why they came out. But again, Thursday, I don't know how much we're going to know Thursday, but we should know more. CJ, what's up? Talking about Thursday. Hopefully we could get together. CJ's, I know, headed out to the hearing, I think, and we might have a little show with myself, maybe Silky, if she could do it, and kind of cover the proceedings there. As far as cameras go on Thursday, so people have gone back and forth with it. I don't know if anyone's checked today. The source, the guy that I have that goes to the court for everything, was told last week. Barbara McDonald also mentioned it last week in a tweet or social media post. I don't know if it was on Twitter or not. The cameras will be there. And then someone reached out through, I think it was one of the Facebook groups, and asked Allen County on Friday if they were going to have cameras, and they said no. Well, what was told to me was that hasn't been released yet officially. So if you would call and ask the courthouse if they're going to have cameras Thursday, they're going to say no, because officially it is no until they change or until the judge signs this. So the people that I talked to are still saying there's going to be cameras Thursday. I don't know. They did move them to a court in the courthouse. I don't know if it's the courthouse or the room that they're in. The courtroom that they're in has had cases before. It is camera, one of the places that are camera available. So that makes sense to why they would move it from where they were to Judge Gall's court instead of moving her. But we don't know that for sure. So it's kind of up in the air, I guess. But we're still going to have a lot of people that will be, at least they could be in court. Court will be open. I think they let you live tweet in there. I know people were doing that during, well, that was the Keegan Klein thing. So maybe they don't let you do that. I don't know if anyone's been there or not. Because I remember that was the Keegan Klein thing. Yes, looking forward to that. There's Frank. Just talking about you, Frank. If they claim they didn't lie. I don't know. People might. Good people. I see good people all around here. Grade that live about the F. It's the first time I agree with his theory. To me, it's not an F. I've never really watched Gray Hughes. I don't have anything against him, but looking at the picture, I don't know. I just like what I don't know. It's hard for me just to say that's an F. Like, what's the? I need to see the context of it. But I could see when people look at it, and say, that looks like an F. Well, it does. Could your hand leave a mark like that? Sure, it could. If Jorge had confessed and provided details, possibly. And again, that's something else too. We don't know what he said. We don't know how he said it. We don't know in what context he said it. I've heard, obviously, his wife and his mother. I've also heard he admitted it to other staff members of the prison, and they're going to be called as witnesses too. So, what context is that in? We don't know what context. I don't know I haven't heard it yet. And I know people are like, "Oh, there's false confessions and things." There is. So who knows where this comes from? All I know is at the time that this happened, this was whenever he was going through his mental issues or whatever. So let me ponder this point to you. Could that have been part of the defense? Could that have been part of the defense? Act crazy, admit to it on the phone that you did it. Is that too crazy, or is that something that these guys would have done, or a tactic that they would have tried to use? Now you see the defense doesn't want his mental records to be shown because he's not crazy. I assume that's why they don't want him out there, because he's not crazy. So that's kind of down the chute. So we moved from that. Now we're on to the Odinist thing. If the Odinist thing doesn't take, then we're going to move on to this or move on to that. So I heard that they left evidence on the roof of the van. I don't know if that's true or not. That is an odd thing to come out. That's a very specific, very odd thing to come out. So I tend to believe it. Now, I've left doors open on a fire truck pulling out. Like, shit like that happens. It's not inconceivable that could have happened, but that's just another little thing that people add when they take LE to task and don't believe anything that LE says. Yeah, I've heard that too. I have not been able to confirm that, but that is another it's a head scratcher, right? How else would you say it? Baldwin told my attorney to call him. He better be ready to settle for leaking my info. I posted my call to Baldwin today. No, if he leaked your info and he did wrong, I hope that you get your whatever you're getting for it. I know that you have had a problem with Rick, but I don't know the whole story, but I don't see him being what he did wrong. People could say, well, he said he wasn't going to do it, then he did it. Well, hey, you know what I mean? Hey, legally, I don't see it. But again, I don't know the whole story either. CJK thinks that. Yeah, I could see that too. Because then if you get rid of him, you kind of got to start this all over. Jesus is in prison. That's where everyone meets him. He does say that. He does say that. Shane, I think heads are going to roll too. Honeybee asking to, yeah. Yeah, again, contact Rick or whatever you guys want to do there. But I like Rick. I enjoy his show. And I know some people like him, some people don't like him, and that's all fine. That's all fine. But I do enjoy his the product that he puts out. I saw that Lakeside Justice. If you read that document, and I could be wrong on it, Frank's in here. Frank might know off the top of his head, but I think that the transport order was for the Halloween hearing, but I could be wrong on that, Lakeside Justice. I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to have to go back and see what Anna said that Ruckus said bingo to. She put in a transport order for him. Oh, Deb, you going to be there? Excellent. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was for the 19th or the 31st or for both. Could be for both. Oh, here goes Frank. Frank's our document guy. RA will be at the hearing, so there we go. If I'm him, I don't even know if I want to go to that hearing. It'd be interesting to see, Shane. It'd be interesting to see. Will they have him kind of worked up a little bit, or will he be, when OJ, real quick sidebar, no pun intended. So when OJ tried the glove on, the defense team was like, they're not stupid enough to have him try the glove on. And Johnny Cochran's like, they might be. I might get Christopher Darden so worked up that I might get him to do this. And he did it. And he profiled Christopher Darden. So they told OJ to quit. He quit taking, he had arthritis medication for his hands. His hands look like gnarled tree roots. And when he didn't take his arthritis medication, so they said, don't take your arthritis medication for 2 or 3 weeks. And they knew this was all planned and this was moving up. So he did it. So you couldn't have put them gloves on his hands. His hands look like the rock biter's hands from the Never Ending Story when he didn't take the medication. So it's just something to think about. I can't imagine. I think Alan's going to look like, have his babe in the woods look like, what's going on? I think he's going to have that look again, but I don't know. But look for us Thursday with CJ's page, me and Silky, and hopefully he said we can share it to our thing, so I'll stream it here if I can figure out how to do that too. Yeah, you did irritate the judge, and the judge are like an umpire in a baseball game, right? You arguing balls and strikes, they're going to get pissed at you, and they're human beings. And I know they're supposed to call it down the middle, but they're human beings, right? Yes, definitely check out Ruckus Rocks, doing big things. As always, him and Steve just got back from doing some investigative work. Well, JR investigates being, I would imagine he would be. Hopefully he doesn't run into Jinx. The doc was put out this morning. What side was it from? Frank will be able to answer that. I think that was just the court thing, but I could be wrong. How are you affording your lawyer? My lawyer. Yeah, lawyers are expensive. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't, I would just say, Lilith, take it up with Rick. I'm certainly not going to be able to help you with the any kind of court stuff or anything like that. But hey, anyone that wants to come in and shoot the shit, I am all for it. Lakeside, Ruckus saying hi. Yeah, so that's what she was asking, I think, that who put it out. Yeah, the court's making mistakes. That's pretty bad. I said that to Frank this morning. Well, that's a pretty fucked up mistake to make. But that's sometimes it's, like, subscribe, share, whatever you want to do. I hope you all enjoyed the video. It's shared, the one I played at the beginning here. And again, I wanted that song specifically. Yeah. Could it be a Hail Mary like Ruckus is saying? Very, very, very possible. I might even lean that way a little bit. I think that you could be on to something there. Along the same lines. I see that too. Along the lines. Yeah. Something enraged him. Did he talk to the girls early on? Did they run into him? I believe they did. They talked to him before they got to the bridge, and then they saw him again. And he was the creepy guy. He wasn't, there's a creepy guy. There's the creepy guy, as if they said it before. That's theorizing. And I never heard the whole tape, the whole audio, or whatever else they have there. But That's something else I struggle with too, David. Why are they doing this? Is it just for the fame, or do they really, really believe this guy didn't do it? That's a very good question, Dave. Very, very good question. DNA is very expensive, Tanisha. You're right. The Klein were low-hanging fruit. Defense didn't go that route. See, Ruckus, I thought that too, and I think I might have said that to you when I read the Frank's motion, and you come out with this Odinist thing, right? So you mentioned Major Click and the other officers that investigate in the Odinism angle. They don't think it was Odinism. They think that Holder and these other people may have been involved, but it wasn't Odinist. So why wouldn't you just follow what they said and like, yeah, I think exactly what these guys thought? Or Ron Logan, an FBI agent, Agent Robertson, wrote a search warrant, said she thought Ron Logan did it. You didn't bring him up. The year 2 press conference, the Keegan Klein angle, all that. The Anthony Schatz. You didn't bring that up. Is that because it's too close to the client? I theorized that. I don't know. But why? I'd put that in there before I put the Odinist shit in there. That's way more believable. Whether you believe the Odinist stuff or not, it's way more believable that Ron Logan is involved or the Keegan Klein is involved. Then it was a ritual sacrifice. And if someone could find one, I'm not being smart. I haven't found an Odinist ritual sacrifice since the 13th century, the documented one of a human. If you could find one, send it to me, because there's a couple of things I'm looking at, and I don't need to see pictures. I just need to see a certain way of something to give me so I could put something to bed, if anyone has that. We're at an hour 30. I'm going to answer a few more questions here. Yeah, professionalism. I keep hearing that from a lot of lawyers too, the professionalism of it. It was like Steven Spielberg wrote it, the one guy said. Well, that's a good point, Steph. That's a really good point, because I've seen a lot of cases. West Memphis 3 was one where they didn't have technology when they took it. There's even older cases. There's stuff from the Zodiac case that they saved. And law enforcement at the time had the wherewithal and the knowledge to say, hey, let's hold on to this, because maybe, who knows what we're going to get to scientifically, and look where we are now. Imagine 20 years from now, where we're going to be at. So that's an excellent point. Very, very, very good point, Steffa. And Steffa could tell you, because she talked to Ron Logan. She has an interview with him, Steffa, right? Correct? That was you and your friend. I thought that was very interesting. That's where he said that the police focused on people that hardly had anything to do with it. And right away when I heard that, I was like, whoa, pause, rewind. What did he just say? I don't think Ron Logan was bridge guy. I don't think that, but has been reported RA did not know the girls. They hadn't been in his car, etc. So if any of their DNA was found in the car. I don't know who reported that, Anna. I haven't seen that. I actually heard that Abby had a negative interaction with Ron Logan, with Richard Allen. Richard Allen knew Anna because Anna bartended at JC's bar for at least a time. So I've heard people say that they didn't know each other. I don't know if they did or not, for sure. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, well, certainly I could agree with you on this. There would be no reason for those two girls to have been in his car. Not riding them home. No, it wouldn't have been plausible. So what you're saying is, yeah, I get it. He wouldn't be able to explain that away. I think that there's something that they have that he can't explain away. I truly, 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 truly do. Ruckus saying, yeah, contaminated DNA may be the cause of a no match. Yeah. Well, yeah, it could be. It could be. But Ruckus, why do you think they kept testing people? That's why I think that there's something. And how was it contaminated? Did they fuck it up? Is it something that they took and left out or something like that? Or because that would be bad, right? That'd be really bad. But again, you got to be honest with people and say that, man. We're human beings. Look, man, we fucked up. Like if this thing goes downhill, as a leader, as the sheriff or whoever ran it, hey, it's on me. I didn't touch that sample. I didn't drop the valve or whatever the case may be that happened. But it's on me. I'm the head of this department. So I apologize. It's on me. I'm sticking up for my guys, my gals, whoever's underneath me. I'm the department head. So when I was a basketball coach and anything happened, our assistant coach did something or this, it's on me. Put it on me. I'm the head of this, you know. I'm going to answer a few more of your questions. I appreciate everybody. We've had 50 or 60 people in here. I think it's 60 at one point, which for me is awesome. I have like 550 subscribers, so that's really, really good. And I thank everybody for all their comments, everyone that came in and talked today and shared what you're thinking. Oh, I even forgot about the goddamn Frank's hearing. Hi. Yeah. I wonder if Ruckus is still in here. If you think that we'll get a decision on the Frank's hearing too, that's a good point. Freckle Joy, you just crushed my dreams. I was just talking about how exciting Thursday is, and then you're like, oh, I don't think it's going to be. We'll see, though. Everything, but there's nothing. When isn't it eventful, Freckle Joy? When is there Delphi anything that isn't eventful? I maybe. Tanisha or Meow, if you're still in here. I think you need somebody like that. Meow, I've talked to her about, let's get Galen together. Let's get her to talk with these people. And, the people that want to help you aren't the people that shunned you before or pointed the finger at you before. These are people that don't know you, that don't have any dogs in this fight, that just want to help this case. And they might be rough around the edges, man, but they are natural police. And if there's a way to ship a couple thousand stacks of paper to the Midwest, we will figure it out. But yeah. That's again, I don't mean to laugh about anything, but I have to see that. I just have to see that. I'll just say that. Where No gets to the pastor so mad he becomes racist. I should be laughing. Is it funny, though? It's funny, right? Maybe I'm fucked up. An executive decision. I agree, Ruckus. I agree. Like, I don't know, man. Anything. Just when you like, I can't be any more. There can't be more. And then something else happens. Something else happens. That is very interesting too. That's very, very interesting. And a lot of the people have talked about that. A lot of the criminal investigators that I follow and things, that, and especially the position that he had. Tobe knew about him, said he was helpful, but even people, and I've heard people from the small towns talk, and again, Westfall mentioned it too, whether you believe him or not. He said it's hard to be anonymous in Delphi. Everybody's into everybody's shit. His wife's screwing the mailman, or the milkman's coming over. They know all that stuff that's going on. So it's very unusual for that. But you've seen him. People have seen him walk. They've heard him talk before. They've dealt with him. And you at least seen him at the store. And no one from that video thought it was him from the bridge guy video. Is it a fuzzy video? Is it what is it? So when people say we don't think RA was bridge guy, no one identified him from town. Well, nobody knew him from town. How is that possible? And this is for 20 years or so. The guy lived there right around 20 years, I think, right? Was it 20? Yeah. I think it was in the early 2000s. Maybe it's 2010. Regardless, even if it was 10 years, 2,000 people in 10 years, you're going to see everybody in town many times. Yeah, they got a walk coming. I'm not going to be able to make the walk, unfortunately. Randy, grab it. I think this is his. He sets it up. I think that's fair to say. But there's some people out there. Ruckus and Steve were just out there. I think Frosty was hanging out maybe today, maybe with Rick. I'm not exactly sure what they had going on. Yeah, cigarette smoker. We know that they found cigarettes in the water. Don't know if they're his or not. Have no idea past any of that. But yeah, we're pretty sure that he is. That's kind of been confirmed. His neighbors would say that too. And he like sit in his driveway in his chair and drink beers and smoke cigarettes. Oh, was it Tulsa? Was that Black Wall Street CJK? Is that why you mentioned that before? Yes, as Ramona Madrid. Okay, Ramona Madrid's mentioned it too. Okay. Libby's phone had more. I agree with you there, Ruckus, too. I agree with you there. I do think it's odd the way it was found. I'm not saying the murderer knew it was there, but these doors are all open, man. We can't close one and say, "Oh, we know this, because we really don't. So I don't knock anyone for disagreeing with me or having, Tulsa. I was talking about that. I don't know that. I've heard multiple different things. I've heard that Ellie found it that day, and then I've heard it was found after the fact. So I don't have a solid answer for you. I don't know if Frank knows that for sure, if Ruckus knows that for sure. Yeah, Ruckus, I think I know one of the CIs. I don't know, Well, let me say this. I don't know. There's speculation. There's been speculation that one of the CIs is actually his son-in-law. So if that's true, I would say that's pretty damning. You see the picture where he's sitting in his lap, and it's a bizarre picture. And hey, when the guy wants to sit in another guy's lap, sit away, my friend, sit away. But they both have this kind of face of like, I'm uncomfortable, and it's not that has anything to do with anything, but I don't know if you guys know that for sure. 17 photos is what I heard on the 13th. 17 photos in the phone chain that she had. It's weird. It's very weird. It's very weird. There's a recording all the way from the creep crossing. It didn't record any violence, but there was more than 43 seconds. See, I've heard that too. I've heard the other end though, Anna. That's interesting. I've heard the other end where they were walking and they would talk about girls things, talk about that. That's a direct quote from law enforcement. So I've often wondered, past the 43 seconds on the bridge, can they have 10 minutes of video that had nothing to do maybe with the case, just girls walking and talking or whatever? But if they were going there to meet someone, if there is more audio or more video of them just hanging out, they would obviously be talking about that. But I don't know if there is or not. I think that there is, but I don't know, Freckle Joy. I don't know. Same way with Flora. Robert Ives, who left the case, and I know different people and friends would say, he kind of quit on the case. But before he did quit on the case or leave, he got ISP in there and he said, "Whoa, we can't handle this fire." And maybe it was a week after, maybe a week was too late. Other videos. All right, I'm going to get a couple more minutes, guys, and I'm going to get out of here. I'm at an hour 43. A lot of good comments. Thank you, everyone. A good question. I don't know how much they had of him. I don't think that there's 43. I think it's 43 seconds, but 49, whatever, 43 seconds of the video that included him on the bridge. I don't think that I don't know how many frames or how much of that video is him actually walking or he's in the frame. If there's 43 seconds, there could be 3 or 4 seconds were included bridge guy. There could have been 10 seconds. I don't know. So again, we don't know that for sure, but that's a good point to bring up, Ramona. That's interesting. Very interesting. Well, I can't disagree with you there. They had audio. The dude probably lives across the street. That's hard to explain. That is hard to explain. I don't have an answer for you there. So yeah, just so you know, understand, Ramona, Ruckus is talking about additional past the 43 seconds. So that video by itself, 43 plus there's more. I also think that too. I don't know that from anybody. I just assume, knowing girls that age and what they might be doing. Well, Dave, in your situation, as far as the sheriffs go, that's an elected office, and I know people say that, hey, that there was arrest was made because of this or that. I can't argue with the timing, right? I'm not sure if that's what would happen, if that's what happened here, but I can't argue with the timing of that. So you would have to vote them out. And as far as the Johnny cop walking the street, I don't know, but you can vote out the people that lead the department. If if the mayor and the sheriff are running together on the same ticket, vote for a different mayor. You know what I mean? That'll get obviously we'll get a different sheriff, you would think, or they would at least run with someone else on a different ticket. So that's what you would have to do. You'd have to get the word out, organize some people out there, and good point. Eyewitnesses aren't as great. So people were really hung up on some of these eyewitnesses and these sketches. I don't know if we need them to convict Richard Allen or whoever did it. If it's not Richard Allen, I really don't. I don't think we even need him that much. Yeah. That's something I never understood too, is how like they couldn't measure like the railroad tie on a bridge and they can say, okay, we know that this railroad tie has this exact dimension. We're close to it, right? Within a couple of centimeters. So we can make this railroad tie this big. We could figure out the size of that, so we could figure out the size of anything else in the picture. But obviously they couldn't do that. But I just figured that they could do that, right? So it's hard. I can't say how tall the person is. I know Steve did a video where he tried to figure it out. Yeah, well, however it worked, at least I think we talked before about Indiana Realty and stuff. But however they got it done, the appraisal was done for, I forget the amount. We could look it up. But I had someone send me houses valued in the rest of the market, and they were all much less than the house from Flora was, like way less. Yeah, I was talking about this the other day, Ruckus. I said the same thing. I agree. And if Richard Allen is found innocent and LE admits the line, people on the other end will say, "Oh, we know he did it." So I think people are invested. They're protecting their theory. Yeah, so Thursday it's coming up. Oh, I appreciate everybody's comments. I got to as many as I could. Yeah. Ruckus will be having, if he's going to do a video or anything, coming up soon. But he was just there. He was there at night. And if you're in his Discord, he's some interesting observations. Well, it's certainly got to be very traumatizing to the families. And no, that's like almost like the movie Roxanne, where they all ran out of the station. Steve Martin with his giant nose said, "Oh, you forgot the truck." No. So this is, I didn't want to say, but Ruckus is going to say it here, where he thinks that they were there. They weren't moved. They were there that night and missed. He was there at night, fumbling around, him and Steve, in the middle of the night. I don't know if he made a video of that, guys. But so Ruckus, former LE, was just there. I got to as many questions as I could. I hope that I didn't leave anything bad that I should have answered, but I'm going to have to get out of here almost at the 2-hour mark. I got to make some dinner tonight for me and Braden. So I appreciate everybody for coming in. A really good talk. A lot of good information, people exchanging ideas, people to disagree maybe, being cool and bringing a lot of good points up. There was probably 5 or 6 times where someone typed something in and I'm like, oh, shit. Real quick before I go, the Stevenson case that had the Delphi connections, go research it. There's some stuff going on about it. There's some good people have some good information about it. Ruckus had Coy Cox on before. Go watch the old Coy Cox interview that Ruckus had and see if you could piece together what he was saying. Because I did a couple of days ago, but I found out kind of something else. But anyways, it's good information there. So thank you very much. I appreciate this greatly. Look for me Thursday. I hope to be with CJ, hook up with him and maybe Silky, and maybe we'll do kind of like a play-by-play of the hearing as it goes on as EJ. Evil CJ is live at the court, and whether cameras are allowed in or not, we have to wait to be seen there what's going on. But it's another day in Delphi and there's always something going on. But I appreciate a lot of people in my chat. Like on your way out, share it if you think it was good. Any comments later, put them in. I'll do my best to answer. Kevlar148hotmail.com if you have anything for me. Anything regarding Flora, anything tying Delphi to anything regarding anything you want me to check out or anything I can help you with. I've had people send me questions about smoke detectors and I've gladly answered them. So whatever's cool. But happy Monday night football tonight. I'm not a Cowboy fan or a Charger fan, but I will watch. I don't think I have any money playing in fantasy tonight either. But anyways, I thank you very much. And I think this was a really great chat. Productive. Go back and watch the video one more time and let it sink in after I explain to you where it came from. What are we doing here? What's happening here? Don't lose sight of, kind of why we're here. And I'm nobody's moral compass, nor do I ever want to be. I'm hardly have my own moral compass. But just think about what brought you here, why we're here, and go easy on the families because we can't imagine what they're going through. Very few of us, and I'm not one of them, have had, tragedy affect their family like this. And probably nobody's been through the ringer like these families have with everything that's happened the last 6 years. So just keep that in mind. Keep keeping on and keep grinding, keep doing what you're doing. Creators are doing some great work, and YouTube is getting hot. It's picking up. So whether good or bad, it's definitely something that's being talked about more in the mainstream media, and how me and everyone here is kind of changing the way that crimes are being solved or being investigated. So there's one of me and there's thousands of you. So at the end of the day, remember, you're more important than any one YouTuber. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to say Tentacles and drink out of my carton of tea, which is a Pennsylvania original, the Turners. And I am going to tentacle my way out of here. Everybody have a drink. It's 20 to 5 in the East. Early enough to drink, I think. Certainly early enough to smoke a bowl. I'm going to be out of here. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it. Great talk today. All right, everyone. Coach Kev out.